Welcome back for another round of CPW Science Edition. Today, we're going to be selecting one piece of data from a simple data presentation, identifying similarities or differences between experiments, understanding the methods used in a simple experiment, performing a simple extrapolation using data in a table or graph, and comparing or combining data from a simple data presentation. So in our first question, we know we're going to be successful if we can identify a key piece of data in a given table. In the second question, we'll compare two experiments and identify the different independent variables. In our third question, we'll identify the reasoning behind a data-driven trend. In the fourth question, we'll predict a data point that was not actually measured. And in the fifth, we'll compare the results of an experiment to determine a valid conclusion. So for our first question, it asks, according to the information in experiment 1, in which of the following cups was the temperature of the water highest after 20 minutes? So there's a few things going on in this particular question. The first I see is that I have to refer to experiment 1. And then I have to interpret some data. So I have to find which table or figure the data is in, and after skimming the synopsis, I see that it's in table 1. It's asking about which cup had the highest water temperature after 20 minutes. So I have to look at my data table, and I have to kind of draw an imaginary or a real line underneath 20 minutes, and then compare the temperatures at that point. And after comparing the numbers, it appears as though the black cup had a temperature of 30 degrees, which is the highest temperature, so the answer to number 1 is D. In question 2, it's asking which of the following best describes how experiment 1 differed from experiment 2. So we'll be comparing the two experiments to determine the different independent variables or what we're testing. So in experiment 1, they had 4 identical cups and their covers were painted 4 different colors. But in experiment 2, it was a clear glass tank filled with water. So after reading the different possibilities, G best fits the answer for the question, because in experiment 1, the color of the cups was varied, and in experiment 2, a clear tank was used. Our third question asks, which of the following statements best explains why the temperature of the water increased in experiment 2? So I have to refer back to the synopsis for experiment 2, and after reading it, the tank was held inside until they wanted to start recording the temperature. So when the temperature started being recorded, it was placed into the direct sunlight. So in this particular question, you have to read into it a little bit, because the thing that caused the temperature to go up was the sun. So it's not only in the synopsis, but it's also in figure 1, where the only thing affecting the temperature is the sun itself. So the best answer for this question is B. For our fourth question, we have to look back at experiment 1, which means we're also looking at table 1. So it's asking, had the temperature have been measured in the red cup at 18 minutes, what would the most likely value have been? Well, here's the thing. We have temperature recorded for the red cup, but we don't have a reading at 18 minutes because temperature was only recorded every 5. So what we have to do is we have to split the difference or find the average. So the temperature at 20 minutes was at 28, and the temperature at 15 was at 27. And if we take that sum and we divide it in 2, because 18 is about halfway between 15 and 20, we would get 27.5 degrees Celsius. So H is our best answer for question number 4. Our last question is asking, which of the following statements best explains why the results of experiment 1 support the conclusion the different colored cups absorb varying amounts of sunlight? The key word here, guys, is varying. And varying means changing or different. So we also have to realize that when we're speaking about results, we're talking about the end of an experiment. So I have to refer back to Table 1 because Table 1 goes with Experiment 1. And at the end of the experiment, at 40 minutes, the temperatures of each cup were very different because none of these numbers are the same. So these are varying, they're different results. So the best answer for question number 5 is C. So to recap, the answers to this week's CPW are 1D, 2G, 3B, 4H, and 5C. All right, see you next time.